Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Today y Mañana. I'm Alex. This is Michael. We're very excited to have you joining us this morning on a warm money.
Summer is starting to rear its face.
It is. It is. Summer is rapidly approaching. It is not waiting for June 21st.
No, it's on its way. Though we could use some rain. I've been talking to a lot of people, including Pops, and his garden is pretty dry. So
already.
So I think right now we kind of had a dry spring, so I think we could use a little rain.
Absolutely.
But I don't want to jinx it, and then suddenly we have like a week straight of rain.
I know. So. Well, especially not in the summer. You want your sunny days.
Yeah, that's
true. In the summer, you get to go out, maybe listen to some opera. Have some ice cream, which will surely be talking. I mean, there's very few things better.
Exactly.
Summer is when I just load up on my ice cream. I'm like, okay,
and there's nothing better than when you get ice cream too and you have it in the cone and it's like you go outside, it's already melting, and then the rush, like the excitement, the thrill of having to like try to fix it as much as I can. In fact, it reminds me of a story. My aunt told me we were in New York just this past weekend, and my aunt told me how she was driving my uncle and they had gone to Florida, and she said Florida was so hot that they wanted to get a Dairy Queen, and she came out with the ice cream, and one for my uncle, her husband, and one for herself. And she said by the time she got to the car, she was trying her best to lick him. By the time she got to the car and gave the ice cream to my uncle goes, there's no ice cream anymore. It was all gone because it melted so fast, and my aunt was in such a rush trying to make sure it didn't melt. So yeah, it's that time of year, that fun time of year.
Yep, it certainly is. It certainly is. So we're looking forward. And speaking of ice cream, we'll be joined very shortly in the show by Emily Harpster. She owns Sugar Bear CVille, making local ice cream with local ingredients right here in Charlottesville. Then later on in the show, Valerie Hill, structural engineer with her own company, is going to be joining us. And then last but certainly not least, Michelle Perry-Pace, Soleful Running and Coaching, is going to be joining us on the show. So it is a great lineup that we have for you today. Already got some people tuning in. Carly Wagner, thanks for watching the show. Vanessa Parkhill, thank you for joining us this morning. Bill McChesney, thanks for watching this morning. So it's great to have the comments, the lights already coming in. So it's going to be a blast. Brandon Perry, Jeff Parker, thanks for liking the show this morning.
Should we mention that UVA is in the College World Series? Because I know how much you like to follow that. I mean,
we should. I'm not going to say anything about how good they are, because when we did that with Jeff, they lost.
They look terrible. They look terrible.
When we did that with Jeff, they probably lost 2 series. So we're going to say they're in the College World Series. We're rooting for them, and let's hope for the best.
And the first game is tomorrow, right?
First game is tomorrow against Florida.
Okay.
So just be rooting for them. I almost brought my UVA hat to wear on air, but then I forgot it. So
you should have worn your 2015 UVA baseball.
That's what I was going to wear in the national championship. Exactly. But hey, if they win this weekend and go to the finals, I can wear it next Thursday.
There you go.
And put it on and go for it. So we're looking forward to that. So best of luck to UVA. I think the team's already in Omaha.
Yeah, of course, because they play tomorrow, right? So they're already in
Omaha.
So is there a game? Some teams are playing today, though, aren't they? Or
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I have to check that out. But it is here. 8 teams left, and UVA is one of them. So best of luck to UVA. Of course, loving being here on the I Love CVille Network set. So big thank yous, of course, to our great friends, Castle Hill Cider, Matthias Yohn Realty, Charlottesville Opera, Craddock Serious Insurance, and Forward Adelante. Be sure to check out. So June 23rd, 24th, 25th. So next weekend.
Next weekend is already
Guys and Dolls is going to be playing at the Paramount from Charlottesville Opera. I'm super excited for that. It's going to be amazing. July 1st, the festival at the Teen Pavilion. So talking about things you can do this summer. The festival at the Teen Pavilion. They're going to have some music, some fun things for the kids. A great festive ALL. On July 1st at the Teen Pavilion, and then July 14th and 16th is Tosta. So that's the big, if you want. Guys and Dolls.
That's Nick's thing.
Yeah,
right
Guys and Dolls.
He's just counting down to Tosca.
Fun, happy ending. Tosta, it's if you want the drama, go on July 14th and 16th. That's all I can say. Patsy Parker, thanks for watching the show this morning and joining us. So I don't know about you. I'm super excited and ready to jump right in.
I say let's go.
Let's do it. So we're super excited to welcome to the show this morning Emily Harpster. She's the owner of Sugar Bear CVille right here in Charlottesville. Emily, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for coming on, Emily.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you on. So for those who haven't yet tasted Sugar Bear or met you, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you first became interested. Because I think a lot of us are interested in eating ice cream. But how did you first become interested in making it?
Yeah. So, I mean, cooking and being a chef has always been a serious hobby of mine. And I've made ice cream for years and was steadily upgrading my equipment to fancier and bigger pieces of equipment. And then at a certain point, I had sort of topped out what would work on my home's electrical network and decided that I was going to go to college for ice cream, which is a thing that you can do at Penn State. They've been running this ice cream short course every year for 125 years.
That's impressive.
And so went and got some technical grounding to add to all of the sort of knowledge and experience picked up over the years. And also visited an Italian equipment manufacturer to really learn the ins and outs of how to operate all the equipment.
Wow, that's so. In other words, if someone could be described as an ice cream expert, it's probably.
I've taken a Scantron exam. I've filled in bubbles. I can do the math 100 different ways. Wow. Yeah, I could tell you.
Is there a lot
we
of
could go real deep if you wanted to.
Is there a lot of math involved in making ice cream?
There can be. Yeah. Yeah, that's the short answer. There's lots of chemistry, there's lots of physics.
Wow.
It's a fun thing to make.
So what made you take the leap and say, okay, I've loved doing this. I'm going to launch a small business like devoted to this?
Yeah. I've always wanted to have a small business. I love ice cream. And when I moved to Charlottesville, I thought it would be really great if there were the kind of ice cream that I like to make available in the market, where it was made from scratch, all natural, using ingredients that are locally made, grown, or sold. And I think it's a fun thing to play with. And Charlottesville is very community focused and driven. And I think ice cream is a great platform to kind of celebrate that and tell that story.
And what kind of flavors do you have?
Since I have started, I have made 83 flavors.
Wow.
So
you don't have to name them all then. It's okay.
I need to pare it down. That's kind of where I am in the arc of my business.
You could go down with like your favorites.
I will say like a few top sellers, favorites that tend to make repeat appearances. One is called Honey Sea Salt Latte, which is a riff off of a drink that Petite Marie Bet used to have. It uses Lone Light coffee, cold steeped, sourwood honey from Hungry Hill Farms in Nelson County. So substitute that in for a little bit of the sugar to get the sweetness. And then an extra pinch of salt to kind of accentuate your ability to taste that sweetness. People really like that one. That's one of the first flavors that I made, and it's still around.
Oh, that's fun. That sounds fantastic.
That sounds like a perfect morning ice cream. A little
ice cream
caffeine, a little sugar. Exactly, yeah.
I know. Well, think about instead of having that honey in your yogurt and a cup of coffee, you just put it all together.
Exactly, it's all together. Yeah, maybe get like a little brioche bun, put it in between. That's
100%.
And I have ice cream sandwiches too. So that's also a product. And I have a special partnership with Vitae where I use their products and the ice cream that I make for them that go on these macaron ice cream sandwiches. The macarons are from Bowerbird Bake Shop. So
I'm pretty sure that's where Nick told me he first ran across you. So I said, man, I was telling Nick, who, for those who don't know, CMO of Emergent Financial Services, he helps us get a lot of the great guests that we have on today, Mañana. I was talking with him and I said, this looks amazing. Where did you come across Sugar Bear soup? He goes, yeah, I saw she was doing this thing with Vitae ice cream and the macaroons, and it was so good, and so I had to bring her on.
Yeah, it's a bar snack.
It sounded like the ultimate bar snack. Yeah. Lynn Gold Black, thanks for joining us this morning. Olga says, hola chitos. Olga Morse, thank you for watching this morning. Kirsty Perry, watching this morning. Thanks for joining us. So I'm curious. I'm always curious in the creative kind of aspect. What's it like? How do you kind of think of a new flavor or say, okay, what is it partly inspired by, here's a new local ingredient I want to incorporate? Or is it like, I have this idea, let me go out and find who's producing these ingredients locally? What's kind of the process?
Yeah, it's kind of all of the above. I mean, one of the great things about Charlottesville is that there's so much good product to work with here. There's so many delicious things that incorporate well into ice cream. And so, I definitely have my Excel spreadsheet with 500 ideas for all the things I want to try. And every once in a while, too, someone will reach out to me with an idea. Like Eastwood Farm and Winery reached out recently because they grow blueberries there, and they said, could we do a blueberry ice cream, which, is timely, delicious. And so that kind of thing comes up. And I love that. Or there were kids in my boys' class at school that were selling Girl Scout cookies. Everybody likes Thin Mints, so there was a Thin Mint flavor for a while. So it just kind of depends.
And how long does it take for you to kind of find the right flavor of ice cream? Like, how many trials does it take? Like, how many times do you have to kind of be like, oh no, it needs a little more sugar. Oh no, maybe it needs a little more blueberry.
Yeah.
How long does that process take?
It sort of depends on the flavor. So the honey sea salt latte flavor that I mentioned earlier, I think I must have run like 25 rounds on that, trying to get it like exactly correct, like the grind of the coffee, the amount, how I steep it, how I strain it. That one really went through several rounds. The other thing about ice cream, though, is that you make the base and then you incorporate the flavor. So once you get your base correct, you get the amount of sweetness that you want, the fat content that you want. You have a lot of liberty to kind of play and adjust and tweak. And so there have been a few things where I kind of knew on the first or second try, like, this is going to come out okay. And there are some fun science tricks that you can use too. There's something called a refractometer, which if you put a few drops of solution and hold it up to the light, it'll tell you how sweet the mix is, so you know before you freeze it. And you can have like a number in your mind that you're aiming for. So it's pretty cool.
That's really neat. I had no idea. I had no idea you could see sweetness. The idea of that.
It's
oh, that's awesome. Yeah. That's very cool.
Yeah, we prefer to taste sweetness, but seeing it's pretty
you
cool.
can do that too.
You
most of the time, that's what I do.
Oh my goodness. I have to ask, what inspired the name of Sugar Bear? I mean, I love the logo with the little berry. What inspired that?
Well, a couple things. I moved to Virginia from California, and the bear was kind of a symbol that tied the two things together. I also think there's something about ice cream that oftentimes will remind people of a story. It's sort of a happy, childlike, ice cream is simple and joyful. And so I wanted a logo and a name that communicated that, sort of like a term of endearment to something fun.
That makes, it's adorable. It's very, it makes you feel like eating ice cream. I want to be that little bear.
Yeah, it's like simple, happy.
Now.
Yeah,
exactly.
Totally.
Exactly. And I know one of the things when we were chatting, I know you've been, part of your journey to being an entrepreneur is you've been through the CIC workshop. Could you tell us a little about how that was like?
Yeah, CIC is amazing. Anyone who's thinking of starting a business in Charlottesville, I cannot recommend it more highly. I think it was helpful for several reasons. One, it kind of walked me through the process of putting the pieces of the business together in a very structured and facilitated way with tools that were super helpful. I think it also gave me access to a network of people and resources that have been incredibly valuable. I got help with a membership to the Chamber of Commerce, help with photography, help with a mentor, which especially when you're getting started is so nice to have a sounding board. I mean, that was huge. And so, CIC is this amazing, Charlottesville is so lucky to have an organization like it. I think one of the things that surprised me most is sometimes people may know one aspect of CIC, like they'll say, "Oh yeah, I know the loan. They do the loan program." I'll be like, "Oh yeah, aren't they the one with the 16-week workshop?" And you don't realize until you get into it at just the breadth of resources. There's so much to it. Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking of it as just a class that's going to help you do your business budget and your marketing plan, like there's so much more to it. Yeah.
And what always fascinates me too about CIC is that it's amazing how many entrepreneurs come by that we don't even know went to CIC, and it's like, I went to CIC. We're like, wow, you went to CIC? It's like amazing. It's like there's some that we know, and then there's others that just.
But there was actually 3 weeks in a row. It was hilarious. 3 weeks in a row, like the desk would come on and say, the desk you had, they were in my work group with me, and there were 3 people from the same work group 3 weeks in a row. Like this, you can't make this up.
Yeah.
Which is just
it's
the
amazing.
Connections.
It's a great organization. Yeah, the connections are fantastic. Yeah.
In that vein, what's it like? Because obviously you've got the part where you're making the ice cream and you're doing what you love.
Yeah.
What's it like to be the entrepreneur as well on that side?
Oh I love it. It's my happy place. I love being in the kitchen. I love the chaos of it. I like when stuff breaks now because I know how to fix it. I didn't in the beginning. That was a little stressful. Moments in ice cream adventures are when you have to fix a pasteurizer that's broken. I love it. There's an adrenaline part that happens at the beginning where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it. It's working. Yeah. It was an idea and now it's a thing. And then you kind of get to this overwhelmed stage of, oh my gosh, I'm on the ride and I have to meet the pace. And then you kind of get to the refinement And it's really just a matter of like, nothing is exactly right out of the gate. You gotta like make the mistakes, learn, fix it, and grow, and just stick with it. And it's a journey.
Keep getting better and keep getting better and better. You know, and it's funny. We did, every time we talk with Jeff Camrath at CVille, like he comes on Talks Business. Sometimes he does. It's always the same thing. He's like, there's nothing better for him than making mistakes, because that's how you get better.
Yeah, that's how you figure it out. Yeah, exactly.
Which is fantastic. So where do you try to see what's kind of next for Sugar Bear CVille? Is there anything?
Yeah. Well, so I feel like I've got like the basic components down. Like I figured out how to streamline production and how to source ingredients and things like that. I'd like to expand to more places and do more creative partnerships. I've got a few of those in the pipeline that I'm super excited about. And I'd love to, on a personal level, get more polished packaging, since I do hand apply all the stickers and hand pack every unit myself. And I've sort of grown to the point where it's time to figure that piece out. So
awesome. But that's the little things that happen, the expansion and the growth, and it's like one of those things that it's kind of like paying taxes as a business. Like, it's a good problem to have.
It's a great problem to have.
If you're paying taxes, you're making money. If you're worried about how do I package all these more things, it means you have a lot of things to package.
Right, there's a lot of yeah. And I got to get better at social media. That's my own
Oh, here you are now. You're live. You're live to like 15 social media platforms as we speak. So, you know, Johnny Ornelas, amigo del programa, liked in the show this morning. Thanks for joining us. So, I mean, where are some of the places? I know there's a decent number of places. Where are some of the places people can get some Sugar Bear ice cream?
Yes, so I am all wholesale. So the good news is you can get it at places all around Charlottesville. You can get it at Marie Bette Cafe and Bakery. You can get it at Petite Marie Bette. You can get it at Feast, Foods of All Nations, Greenwood Grocery, Eastwood Farm and Winery, Vitae's Downtown Tasting Room. I'm hoping I'm not forgetting. I might forget. I think that's everyone for now. I'm hoping that I'm not
still
forgetting.
At Bowerbird?
Yes, and Bowerbird.
There we go.
Bake Shop, yes.
Awesome. Yeah. So and so many places, really very easy to access. You don't have to find. You don't have to go looking around and find it. Like, you were probably, if you were in Charlottesville, you were close to one of these.
Yes. Oh, and
locations.
Cake Bloom.
Cake Bloom. Awesome. Right.
Yeah.
Also right here downtown.
They do ice cream socials on Thursday afternoons that are super fun.
Yes, we had them on. They're also a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A great place, and I mean, we're better to go. I can't imagine anything better than having one of those cakes with like a scoop of ice cream.
Nice scoop of ice cream.
And they do such a beautiful job of like the presentation is amazing and the flavor pairings are perfect. Like, it's
and with
really
your
fun.
ice cream, with Sugar Bear, they have some good flavors to work with.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. And so, where can people, in addition to that, so we know where to find you? Where, if they want to like see what's new and learn more, where's a good place to get in touch?
So the best way is to follow me on Instagram. I'm at Sugar Bear CVille on Instagram. I regularly post flavor updates and also try to keep on top of what's in stock where. You can also check my website, which is sugarbearcville.com for more information.
Awesome.
Wow.
So there you go, Sugar Bear CVille. Kevin Higgins is so excited. He was like, he would want it in like the Wahoo's baseball size scoop, you know, the thing. He's like, all right, that would be fantastic.
Exactly, one of those like huge like helmet like cups that you can load like 5-10 scoops
That
in.
would be awesome.
Oh yeah.
You know, as much as you can get. Emily, this has been fantastic.
Yes.
I can't thank you enough for coming
Really
on.
appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much.
Thank you all.
Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Oh, so awesome.
I feel like I could go for ice cream right now. I have to listen to that, right? It's a warm day and you kind of like.
I told Emily before the show started, she was kind enough to bring us one. I'm like, if I had a spoon on me right now, that's what
you wouldn't even need a spoon. Let's be honest, Alex. You wouldn't even need a spoon. The problem is the camera's on. We could turn off
the problem. The camera's
Alex
on.
is gonna taste it. We'll turn the camera off for about like 2 minutes while Alex tastes it, and then we turn it back on.
And then turn it back on. I mean, okay.
Exactly. Liza wouldn't need a spoon either.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I love Liza, but I'm not sharing Sugar Bear.
What?
I'm not sharing that ice cream with Liza. She would eat this.
Listen, I always want to share with the pets. I remember when we used to have our Westie Chester. Forget it. Like, he was like the first one I wanted to taste stuff because he was just as excited as we were. Do you remember? It didn't matter every night. Well, not this delay thing is every night. At 9 o'clock on the dot, he would always have to go to the bathroom. Remember, the minute he came to the bathroom, he went to the freezer because he wanted his ice cream.
Remember? Ice cream, I know.
Yeah, literally, he had his ice cream. Didn't matter whether it was summer, winter, spring, fall. He had his ice cream every night.
Can I have some ice cream? We got more people joining us. Ricardo Cruz Duran. Gracias, amigo, for joining us this morning, watching the show. So we got a full house. I love when the audience is like super involved and
Yeah,
excited.
they're perked. It's
a
that
nice
kind of
full
day.
house.
Everyone's kind of active. I guess.
It is. Well, they saw the amazing guest list and they're like, I need to be watching today.
That was
Sean Huber, thanks for watching the show this morning. So I mean, from one amazing guest to another, we're super excited to welcome to the show now Valerie Hill, P.E., of Valerie Hill PLLC. She is a structural engineer here in Charlottesville, Virginia, with her own business. So Valerie, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
It's great to have you on. So for those who don't know about you, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started your company.
So I used to work at a design firm here in town. I graduated from Virginia Tech and then moved straight here, did some structural design, and then 2020 hit and thought I wanted to work from home. So I switched to a forensic engineering firm, which deals more with like home insurance claims. So forensic is figuring out what happened to a structure with hail, wind, fire, trees that fall on houses, cars that run into houses, tornadoes, all of that. And so I still work for them, but I missed design. And I missed working with my community. So last year, I kind of stumbled into starting my own business and trying to work with local realtors and local contractors and filling in a small niche that some of the bigger design firms in town don't want to fill anymore. So they're going after the UVA jobs, the big commercial jobs, the big like multifamily jobs, and that kind of leaves the homeowners, the realtors, and the custom home builders kind of without any help. So I wanted to fill that gap, and it's taken off. It's been really fun. I've really enjoyed it.
That's fantastic. So for those of us who are woefully,
you're probably gonna ask the same question that's already popped in my head.
What is a structural engineer?
What is a structural engineer? Exactly.
I get that question a lot. So I'm sure you've heard of architects, right? So architects decide how a building looks. They design the egress, how you get out in an emergency. They design the insulation, fire codes, all of that. Structural engineers make them stand. So I decide to put that column right there. I design how these beams are transferring the loads from the roof down to the foundation. I'm making it stand up with gravity loads, with wind, seismic. It's gonna stand. Hopefully it stands, yeah.
Wow, so you really got the most important job then.
Yes.
Because an architect can design, it's like, oh, this looks nice, but it's like, yeah, well, if you design it this way, it's gonna go boom.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But a lot of people don't realize that. And we're kind of the bones inside the building, and people just like all of the cantilevers and how the building looks, and architects get all the credit.
Yeah, but you're the one keeping the house like
I know, yeah.
That's the most important part.
Down,
you would think so,
over someone's head.
So out of curiosity, how many times do you ever kind of butt heads with like an architect? Because an architect might be like, okay, this is how I want to design the house. And you have to come in saying, no, you can't put that here. You need to put this here because it needs to be structurally sound. Do you ever kind of have like this sort of like back and forth?
Yes, yeah. So a lot of times it's like a feasibility study. Architects like to do some crazy stuff like cantilevering things, and most of the time it can be done, but it's super expensive. So a lot of the times it's a budget thing that they just don't have the budget to pay for that super expensive way to support it, and so they have to scale back to something that we can come up with together that delivers their design intent, but also makes it stand. So it's a little bit back and forth. A lot of the architects here in town know the limits pretty well, so they don't tend to push it too much, but there are a couple that like to go above and beyond and
you're there to help out.
Make it really cool and a statement,
Awesome. So what are some typical services that you provide to like clients that say, okay, they reach out to you, and what's the kind of like when they make that initial phone call, right, Valerie, I need a structural engineer, what does that kind of look like?
So I deal with architects when they need help design or sizing things, contractors when they don't have an architect and they're doing a design build and they kind of decide what the building's going to look like. and it goes outside of the prescriptive code. And then homeowners, when they want to do an addition or a renovation and they want to take out a bearing wall, or if they don't even know if it's a bearing wall and they need me to come check, which please call me before you knock out walls. I'll tell you what's bearing, what's not. Also with realtors, when they get home inspection reports back from all the home inspectors, and the inspectors point out, okay, there's a crack in your foundation, or there's a cracked truss, or broken floor joist, they usually call me. I come out and tell them what happened and how to fix it, so that they can move forward with the buying process.
Oh wow! So there's a lot of different areas then that you kind of consulting and helping make sure that whether it's like going to be built or whether it's currently standing, and helping make sure it keeps standing, that you're kind of involved with. Yeah, and a lot of homeowners have certain expectations about their home, especially if it's a new build, and they don't realize that the code is the bare minimum that they can build, and anything above that is going to make your house stronger and less bouncy. So when they get a new build and their floors are bouncy, they think something's wrong, but it's not wrong per code. And so sometimes I have to go in there and say, no, like it's to code, it's just the bare minimum, and so sometimes it's a little bit of hand-holding and talking through why things are acting the way that they are to make the homeowner understand about their purchase or their current house. Oh, absolutely. So that's amazing. So that's just so many different aspects to keep in mind that I wouldn't even have known. It's just so interesting to think about it and see it from there. So what's it like, out of curiosity, kind of being an entrepreneur and on that side of the business, that you've got what you do and then there's like the business side? Yeah. I didn't look into the CIC that she was talking about. I didn't go into a Chamber of Commerce. I just Googled stuff and just kind of stumbled my way through business ownership, and was like, okay, I guess I need to get a business license. Okay, I guess I need to LLC this. I guess I need liability insurance and professional liability insurance. Okay, now I need to do this and I need to do that. And I kind of just like stumbled into it, which I do not recommend, but it seemed to work out well. I do all my accounting. I made my own website. I do all my social media, and I like doing that because it also makes me feel like I'm interacting more with the community, and showing them their projects on my website, or interacting with architects, homeowners, or realtors on Instagram and answering questions, or I like doing that myself. It's just like a fun aspect that I don't necessarily get to do as the design side. Exactly, yeah, all those different little things that come into play. You've got Carly Wagner says, a huge benefit of Valerie is how responsive she can be as a smaller firm. Many large firms are booked out months in advance, but from my experience, she can come almost immediately when you need the help. So she's got a big fan watching the show this morning.
Well, it's important when you want to inspect your home. Like, it's like, oh, I'm worried about this wall, and it's like, oh, we'll get back to you in 5 months. It's like, that's not very helpful. Yeah, and I mean, even in this market with the spring market, everybody's like booked up a couple weeks in advance. But I offer different kind of packages for specifically realtors or homeowners where we can walk and talk and kind of give them information at the very minimum so that they can move forward with, fixing it. Or if they need something in writing and a report, then we can go with that option. But I think allowing them to have different options helps also me, schedule them in between things. Yeah. And so that helps me on my end, but I think it also helps them because it also gives them a different level of financial prices, exactly. Basically. Because buying a house is not cheap. So, especially not today.
No. And nor is renovating at this point. For people who are doing reconstruction or renovation, and especially since it's such a significant expense, you want to get it right. The structural part. Like, you do not want to be doing a major addition or renovation, and then partway through the process, you're like, oh, well, looks like you got to redo this because you didn't take that look in the first place.
I call that get out of jail free cards. I get quite a few of those calls. Like it didn't pass inspection for like the county or the city, and the building inspector fails them, and so I have to come in and tell them how to fix it, and then it ends up costing them more in the long run than if they had called me initially and asked my advice early on. So please call me initially.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's amazing what you do. I had no idea that was.
We learn something new every day on today.
I know,
Just always
yeah.
learning new things every day. So, I mean, what's the best way? So, let's say you've got homeowners that are like, okay, I'm really interested in working with Valerie, or I have a new addition. What's typically the best way that they can initially, kind of get in touch with you?
Either email or give me a call. Like Carly mentioned, I answer my phone probably more than I should. I'm not good at boundaries, and I answer my phone after hours. So try to keep it within hours, but if you send me an email or you give me a call or a text, then I usually can respond.
The best ways to do it. And where do you see the firm growing at this? What's kind of next for you? I mean, after
I don't know.
such great prospects first year.
I know, yeah. So that's in flux right now. It's taken off more than I thought, and so maybe it will be a full-time thing in the future. I have to kind of figure out projections of how I could make that a livable income, as opposed to having a full-time job and then having this a supplemental income. I don't know. We'll see. If I keep getting work, then maybe.
I feel like that's an exciting. You're not the first. We have a number of entrepreneurs, and someone's come on, and you're kind of in that exciting place. You're like, you can see the potential.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, here's the next. Here's kind of where the world kind of opens up. And
it's nice to have options. I have to say. It's definitely an interesting market. Like, there's going to be ups and downs in people doing custom houses or renovations and things like that. It's expensive right now. So, and also with the real estate market. So it's also trying to figure out if it's going to be sustainable even in those lows. That's the scary part. I guess that's the scary part for every small business owner.
It is
taking that leap.
Downs, yep.
Yeah, you don't have that steady income. It's like you're bringing in the work and you're trying to maintain it, and it's scary.
Yeah, but it's a fun jump.
It's very rewarding. Yeah, it's nice being your own boss.
I can tell you're enjoying it.
It's my passion project. Yeah, I really like it.
Which definitely comes across. That's you can see it when people really love what they do. Here I am. I'm being like a Xavier today and just keep hitting the,
you hit it when we specifically said do not touch it.
Do not touch it.
Yeah, but mine's not broken, so it's okay. I can hit mine. It's different.
You guys talk with your hands. That's what.
Exactly. We can't help it. It's if you ever watch the shows where Xavier's on, this microphone takes a beating.
It's got some bumps and bruises.
It does indeed. So Valerie, before we let you go, what's the best place for people to get in touch and reach out?
So you can find me on Instagram. You can message me on Instagram. I respond to those too. I'm at valerie.hill.pe. PE stands for professional engineer. Or my website, valeriehillpe.com. There's a submission form on there too. Or you can email me at valerie@valeriehillpe.com.
Oh, super easy.
I know.
Easy.
It's not a very creative name, but like I said, I stumbled onto it.
Sometimes in certain industries that's helpful because what people are going to be like.
They're going to know you by your name.
Yeah,
yeah,
I need to talk
to
Valerie Hill. I said, what's the name of it?
Valerie
Hill. It's very easy.
I appreciate that.
No, it's fantastic. Valerie, this has been such a pleasure. I feel like I've learned a lot, and it's great to see just how passionate you are about what you do. So it's amazing.
Thank you for having me.
No, thanks for coming on. Hey, we'll look forward to having you back on maybe next year and see where you are.
I know, yeah, that'd be great.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you.
So as we do another swap here, we got great Sydney Chatalos, thanks for watching today. Matthias Yon, thanks for watching this morning. Man, it's just you can tell people we're excited about
that was very interesting. I never was a structural engineer.
Structural engineer.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
And Valerie's still getting the props. Sarah Ryan Hudson says, Valerie Hill is so amazing. She's such an asset to homeowners working with a structural problem for the first time, a literal lifesaver.
It's
So,
true. That is
there you
true.
go.
There's certain things you don't want to mess with. You know, in food, you don't want to use ingredients. Like, you don't want to use mushrooms unless you're a mushroom expert. That might be a bad example, but like, it's the same thing with the house. Like, there's certain things you don't want to mess with the house. The most important thing is it's structurally sound.
Exactly. The integrity of the house. Sarah Hudson watching the show this morning. So, man, everyone's been, thanks everyone for joining
You're
us.
really on this, Alex. I'm
I know.
really on social media.
I'm doing like, I'm not quite at Jerry level where I'm having like text conversations in the middle of the show, but I'm getting there.
Yeah. You must have like 20 tabs open, like switch.
Okay, oh man, yeah, because everybody watches in different places. It's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of streaming as far as we do here on Today Mañana. So from one fantastic guest to another, we're super excited to now welcome to the show Michelle Pais, the owner of Soleful Running and Coaching. Michelle, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Wow, it's so great to have you on.
you.
So for those who haven't met you before, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, like, how did you first become interested in running but also like coaching running?
Absolutely. Running has always been a joy of mine since I'm a little kid. I'm really lucky to have grown up in a really active household, sports and running, and family members who were coaches. So it was definitely great to have that as a wonderful influence. Same throughout my school journey. So definitely something I've always enjoyed. And then a year and a half ago, I decided that I wanted to turn this into a full-time job. So I started Soulful Running and Coaching.
Oh, that's okay. We got the beauty.
Yes.
There's the beauty of the hand of God. That's what we're.
So I started Soulful Running and Coaching, and that is my full-time focus. And my goal is truly to help other people find joy in running and to achieve their own goals. So, and that can be anything from training for a race to getting started running. I train and coach all levels, ages, and abilities. And as I said, my main focus is helping people to find the joy in running.
So it's all types of races too. So I mean, what are some like typical things where someone says, "All right, I need training for X." What's like typical types of services?
Absolutely. So people come to me for any level from I just want to get started. I've never run ever to I want to run a marathon, I want to run a 5K, I want to run a 10K, I want to just be able to complete a loop in my neighborhood, I want to be able to run with my family, I want to get healthy, I want to stay active, I want to increase my level of fitness, I want a break in my work day, so help me do so safely and effectively. So all different levels and interests. And that definitely evolves too as I coach different individuals. It's really fun to see how their interests change over time too, in terms of what they're looking for and hoping to achieve.
What are the biggest fitness issues that you kind of encounter when you're kind of first coaching people? It's like, okay, what are like the most important things that you feel like they need to work on as they kind of like first you start working with them?
Absolutely. So definitely varies from person to person, but I think the biggest thing is believing in themselves. And I think that that's so much easier said than done. But I think as soon as, I joke sometimes with some of my clients that some people say that that seeing is believing, but I actually think believing can sometimes be seeing. And so I think that is honestly the biggest hurdle usually when we get started. And then just giving them the tools that they already have, but really showing them how to use those tools to run effectively, to run safely, not to get started too fast, to have really realistic goals, because once we start to achieve certain milestones, then we're going to be more inclined to continue on that path. So setting very realistic goals and working towards those.
Oh, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Are there sometimes issues or safeties where someone says, all right, I want to start running, and they just like go outside and start doing it? Are there things sort of to keep in mind, like, all right, hold on, you need to be thinking about certain things before you just start going?
Yes, absolutely. So it's definitely important to think of what your current experiences, how much you've been running, how much you've been training, what other activities you do. Do you play other sports? Do you walk your dog? Do you, what other activities are you involved with? So it's really important to have a good baseline to know where to get started and to be able to have a plan in place. And that's really where the coaching piece comes in, to really have a good plan in place to know whether it's day by day or month by month or goal by goal, how to approach that in a realistic and effective and fun way. As I say,
Yes.
my goal is to bring joy to running and to fit within people's lifestyles. So a training plan should fit their lifestyle. The lifestyle should not fit the training plan. So the goal is always to work with each individual on an individual basis to make sure it fits within their life.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense. Yeah, because you're not going to tell someone who say, "Oh, I want to run." Is it all right? Completely change your life. You're going to get up at 5 a.m. every morning and go for 2. You know, it's like
That won't happen.
that wouldn't make them happy. Wouldn't bring the joy out of running that
Exactly.
you're talking about.
Exactly.
But out of curiosity, as summer comes along and it gets really hot during the day, do you kind of try to structure your coaching around different hours?
Absolutely, absolutely. Whether I'm coaching in person or offering virtual training plans where I provide a training plan to an individual for them to use on their own with my virtual coaching, I will definitely advise around certain hours. I'm always watching the weather. I actually have clients all around the country, so I'm always watching. If you looked at my phone and looked at my weather app, I have a lot of different cities and locations, so I'm always watching their weather and giving them advice on time of day to go or air quality, as we recently
yes.
experienced,
Oh, yeah.
or thunderstorms this time of year, which is incredibly dangerous. So I always advise that they need to definitely watch their own weather and their own radar, but I'm watching that for them as well and advising too.
Interesting. So what does your virtual coaching consist of?
Absolutely. So a lot of different options. If someone's training for a race, it will be a month-by-month training plan with a weekly check-in and then check-ins throughout the week on a little more of a casual basis. And then any supplemental virtual phone calls or video calls that they might need as they're preparing for their race. If they're training, not necessarily for a race, but they want to increase their distance or increase their fitness, similar type protocol, but might be more of a month by month without necessarily that specific race as the end goal, just an ongoing continuation of training.
So you set like little goals or like little checkpoints that like your clients have to like achieve?
Absolutely, and they'll even receive from Soleful and from myself, they'll receive a day-by-day plan, and that will include recommendations around running, which includes, as we talked about, everything from, weather and gear and things like that, to cross-training, strength training, rest and recovery days, which are equally important to the training cycle. And then as they encounter things throughout the plan, any sort of adjustments or modifications. So as we talked about, life happens. Sometimes we have a work trip come up unexpectedly, or maybe we're feeling under the weather, or any number of things. So Soleful's coaching plans also adjust and adapt to the inevitable changes that come along in life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do your plans also come with like health, like diet recommendations?
They do not.
Okay.
So I am not a dietitian or a nutritionist. But I do have a wonderful network of individuals that I can refer them to if they have a specific question. So I can talk about things in terms of hydration and fuel from a running perspective, in terms of the time of day or how soon before, during, or after a run, depending on how long your run is or how long your workout is. But in terms of actual nutritional guidance, that would definitely need to be from a licensed professional. But fortunately, I have a wonderful network of those people I can refer them to.
Awesome, that's fantastic.
That's
yes,
great.
You can kind of get all the assistance you need.
Yes.
By you start with this and then see, okay, where do I need to make adjustments and so forth. Do you have people that'll kind of graduate little by little? In other words, like clients that have come to you in the past to get started, and then maybe a year or two later they're like, hey, I'm here, can you train me for a marathon?
It's amazing to see the accomplishments, honestly, big and small, every single day with every single person. And I always try and remind them to celebrate their progress and their success, because I think sometimes it's human nature to always focus on the next finish line. And I always remind people to think about where they started and all the steps they've made along the way. But it's incredible to see, it's so rewarding. It's so rewarding. I'll get messages or phone calls from clients saying, I never, ever thought I could run that distance. I never thought I could run that distance. Or someone who never wanted to run a race. They wanted to train, which is wonderful. And that's completely great. And that's really welcome. And then they'll come to me and say, actually, I want to run a 10K and then half marathon and a marathon. True story. That happened. So it's amazing. It's just amazing. It's amazing.
And it's so fun to see that.
It's so fun to see, and it's the joy of running. If people enjoy it and it's rewarding and they're safe and they're not sore and they're not getting injured, then they're going to continue to do it, and if it fits in with their lifestyle.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I can see the joy. Then you kind of see that you've instilled, in addition to like everything they need to do it safely, and what you've instilled kind of the passion there and saying, yes, I want to do more.
Yes, absolutely, because anything that is going to be sustainable has to be realistic. It has to fit. There has to be a reason. You know, we have to think about what is our why, what is motivating us. And that why might change over time, but that is our compass. We need to always go back to that guide and think what is our why and what is driving us. And I think if one of those, you know, whys can be the enjoyment of the activity and the reward, I think that people will be far more inclined to continue on that path.
Makes total sense, absolutely. What's it been like, out of curiosity, on the entrepreneur side? I'd say, like, all right, you know, you do the coaching that you love, and then it's like, okay, I have all these other aspects. Of like, what was it like to take the plunge and say, all right, I'm going to do this as an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. It's been amazing. I almost compare it, there are parallels to running, actually. In terms of starting my own business, I feel like setting those milestones and those goalposts and working towards them and having this lofty goal of starting the business and hoping it's going to take off. And that was kind of the first finish line, and then taking it, you know, along the way. But it has been absolutely incredible and amazing. I am loving every single second of it. Obviously, it's a lot of work and it's long days, but I think if you do what you love, then you can do it well. And you, just like in running, you'll find joy in it. So a year and a half ago, my career experience prior to starting Soleful was working for 2 startups and helping to run both of those startups. And so getting to take all of that amazing and wonderful experience over a decade of helping to run other businesses and apply that to running my own business has been so incredibly helpful to navigate a world I think I would have been so completely unknown to me. So I love it. I'm enjoying it.
That must be really satisfying also to take all that experience with startups and say, now it's mine. It's my startup that I'm actually...
It's mine, and it truly feels like, you know, every single day when I get up, I think, I want to make a difference. And that was really the motivation for starting Soleful. I want to inspire people. I want people to find joy in activity. I think running is great for the mind and the body, and that's so important to me. And I feel like every single day getting to run my own business and make these decisions, you know, throughout the day are helping, I hope, to inspire people, and that's the goal.
Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure. I can absolutely tell they are.
And I have to say, I do love the name Soulful Running. I think it was very creative. How long did it take you to come up with that?
I have a sketchbook that you could look at, and you'd probably laugh at some of the ideas that I was bouncing around. But I loved the idea of Soulful. Thank you so much for your kind words. I love the idea of Soulful because of a few reasons. Soul, S-O-L-E, sole of your foot for running. And for 2 other reasons, because 1, I want people to really holistically enjoy running. I think running can give us confidence in our lives, in business. I think problems are easier to tackle if we've had a run or a walk or some sort of fresh air and activity. So I think the Soulful piece kind of ties into the holistic approach in terms of coaching and training for individuals. And then on the other side of it, when I started Soulful, you know, I thought to myself, do I want to do this full time? Am I going to, you know, leave my corporate job and go start Soulful, or am I going to do a hybrid, or how am I going to do this? And I wanted to be all in, and I wanted to truly pour my heart and soul into Soulful, and that was the other piece of it. So, but there were a few other ideas that I bounced around, but I love Soulful, and I'm definitely thrilled with the name. So
it's a nice one. The play on word just
exactly. That's why
when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, this is good.
That's nice.
This is nice.
Thank
this
you.
is nice.
Thank
it
you.
works beautifully. Also, Michelle, before we let you go, if people have been inspired, which I'm sure they have, by this interview and say, all right, I want to reach out to Michelle and get in contact, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So you can visit my website, which is soulful.run. So as simple as that, soulful.run. And then there are links to all of my social media on that. I am on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So you can follow me on all of those. And on any of different one of those, it's a combination of Soulful Running Coaching, Soulful Coaching, Soulful Running. And again, it's SOLEFUL. And each of the social media platforms has like the running coaching component to it. So, and then you'll notice us by our logo, which is a runner, and my dog, Porter, which is actually designed by Kirsty Perry, who was on your show previously.
Yep.
So I had to
Kirsty and
mention,
Brandon
yes,
from Otis and Clara.
Otis and Clara,
Otis
which
and
is
Clara.
out now, so please check it out. It is on Barnes & Noble and on Amazon in paperback and hardback, so I'm sorry, but I had to
Kirsty
mention.
and Brandon, see, you have a great, this is the beauty of family and great. You have a great family member here, because here she is pitching the book
Yes.
today, Mañana.
Yes, and our logo is designed by Kirsty Perry, who is the illustrator of that book. So we love our logo as much as we love our name and the opportunity to help to coach and inspire others. So
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
This has been so fantastic, Michelle. Can't thank you enough for,
Yeah.
for
thank
coming
you
on
so
today.
much for
so
coming
much.
on.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. See,
That was
it's
great.
just shows like this, they really just energize me so much.
Well, it's the energy and passion. I mean,
Yeah.
at this point, you and I probably feel like we're going to run back to we're gonna run back to the office.
Going
right?
back to the office. Caitlin Phillips agrees with you, says, so clever, the Soulful
It
Running.
was,
And
it
Richard
was.
Aguilar, thanks for watching the show this morning. Now it's just, you just get so thrilled. I think each of the desks, just the passion for what they do comes through and just really shines through. And you kind of see it, that it's, and you see all the different beautiful reasons why people become entrepreneurs. It's to share things that they love with others, to inspire people, to fill a need, and to say, oh man, goodness, there's a real need in the community for structural engineering, because people can't find it. I want to help them. I want to make them feel secure in their homes, or I want to share, then help people be inspired to run and to love
run,
it,
yeah.
or I want people to be, experience
Well,
the joy of ice cream.
I was
in a
about to say,
local
everyone's
way.
already loves and it's inspired.
But to experience the local
Exactly.
flavors through that you might not
Exactly.
otherwise have. So it's just amazing to see, and just so great to be a part of, even in a small way, of
Exactly.
having these interviews. So it was fantastic.
That was
Thanks
great.
for joining me.
No,
today.
thank you for having me on. It was a great show.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Thanks for being my partner on it. Always,
yeah.
always appreciate it. We got some great guests that are going to be joining us next week as well. We're going to be joined by Vanessa Martinez. She is the property manager for York Properties.
Oh, okay.
So those downtown in York Place, hard to
miss.
And then Greer Ottenbach from Friends of CVille. Going to be
Okay.
coming on the show, talk about, Friends of CVille always putting up great events and really encouraging people to get downtown, be outside, patronize the local businesses, just a great community organization here. And then certainly not least, Charlottesville Opera is going to be joining us today, and we'll talk some more. I know last time we talked a deal about Dice and Dolls, maybe we'll talk some Tosca, maybe we'll... Nick's probably going to try to get some more spoilers out of them or something. I'll be like, no spoilers.
No spoilers.
on
No
the show.
spoilers. You got to go watch it to find out.
Exactly. You have to go on July 14th and 16th to see Tosca.
Exactly.
You have to go on next weekend.
Next
So it's
weekend
gonna be
already,
next-
Guys and Dolls.
If I'm right, next
Friday, Saturday,
That's
Sunday.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Guys and Dolls at the Paramount. You can still get your tickets. CharlottesvilleOpera.org is the place to go. The Paramount, I think you can also find them. So lots of ways to find out more about that. July 1st, the festival. So many more things. I'm sure Castle Hill is going to be back, but so many more things going there. This summer, today, Mañana, I feel like has given people a plethora of things to do this summer.
Very good word, Alex. Very good word.
Thank you.
You just Googled the dictionary.
Dictionary.com. That's what I'm doing during the show. No, I'm just kidding. You've got the opera, you've got Castle Hill. You can run this summer. You can enjoy some ice cream this
Exactly.
summer. If you're doing a renovation, you now know how to make sure your renovation will not
Exactly.
collapse on your house, so you know who to call.
Exactly.
Make sure you call before.
Exactly.
You get the
Before
bad
you
news
see
from the
this wall, you're like,
inspector.
let me take this
But
one
before
out.
you get the home inspector's back
Exactly.
for call. So so many things that you can enjoy this summer. We talked with Matthias a few weeks ago on some fun places to go and things to enjoy this summer. So I feel like we've done our part to prepare people for a great summer in Charlottesville.
Exactly. We've done our part. It's up to them now. They're the ones who got to go out.
Exactly. And then it's up to UVA baseball to bring us a national championship to enjoy.
So yes, I know. But don't jinx it, Alex.
I'm not going to say how good they are or whether they can do it. I'm just saying that they're there and it's a possibility. It's a possibility for 8 teams that are in that boat. I will say no more to not jinx anything. So this has been fantastic. Thanks everyone for all the great comments.
Yeah, and so many people watching and commenting and liking.
Caitlin Phillips, thanks for your comment. Sarah Hudson, Carly Wagner, great comments. Kevin Higgins, thanks so much for your great questions and comments. Just really everyone's been fantastically supporting the amazing entrepreneurs that we had on. So I enjoyed it tremendously. Looking forward to next week.
Absolutely.
It's going to be great as well. Of course, as always, huge thank you to our presenter, Emergent Financial Services, our amazing partners at Charlottesville Opera, Miguel and Chit at Craddock Serious Insurance, Matthias Yon Realty, Castle Hill Cider, Forward, Adelante. A big thank you to the I Love CVille Network. Judah behind the camera, making it all work.
The hand of God made its appearance.
Yeah, the hand of God was working over.
One of these days, I want to put mine this way I could get the hand of God to come.
I mean, he really helped me out with the swinging. You know, we were in a disaster mode with I couldn't get the thing straight, and he comes and look. I mean, now it's
fixed.
He fixed it for me. So he really does an amazing job. Anytime things work, see, I feel like the underrated notion of producers, like when things work and look normal, that's when the master is at work, because it just goes so.
Well, be honest with you, I actually think it's the opposite. I think when things go wrong, that's when you see the expertise show. Because most people would panic, right? When things are going good, everyone looks like a genius.
Yeah, it's true.
So we know that with the stock market, when everything goes up, it's, oh, well, you know, I invested in this and it went up. It's when it goes down.
Exactly. It's when I'm whacking this thing all over the place.
Exactly.
Xavier can't keep his hands from hitting it. That's when the true maestro is at work. Exactly. And thank you, Liza. Liza was inside of the ice cream. Did you hear the tail wagging? She was like, ice cream. So that was... I loved every minute of it and just love being on here. Love you, our audience. Really appreciate you tuning in this morning. Be sure to check us out next week. Be sure to support all the amazing businesses. Send us any entrepreneurs our way. If you know someone, say something and reach out to us. There's no cost to come on the show. So we love having them on. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you all next week. But until that time, as we'd like to close it out and say, hasta mañana.
Bravo, boys.
That was a fun show.